This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis. It's the Morning Majlis.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back onto the Morning Majlis. We're celebrating International Women's Day, and in line with that, of course, we are paying tribute to our influential female leaders, influential business leaders, and heads of different departments as well for the work and contribution. And within our own families, we're celebrating that. But it is also important to highlight the efforts, dedication, perseverance of the entrepreneurs. So in line with that, we're introducing here on the program our guest this morning to celebrate the occasion. It is Maryam Yusuf, who is a Bahraini national living in the country for over 2 decades and an entrepreneur who started her first venture at the age of 22. A very, very good morning to you, Maryam.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, we're doing really well. We're having these high spirits and positive vibes in the studios, celebrating the International Women's Day. And we'd like to wish you International Women's Day and ask you about how you are celebrating it and how important this day is for you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me, first of all. Of course, for me personally, I honestly live every day as if it's Women's Day. For me personally, I don't need one specific day to celebrate the achievements of women and to support them, as I do that regularly. But of course, this is an important day and I understand the importance of it internationally. We need to, of course, celebrate and acknowledge the economic, political, social, cultural achievements of women from, all walks of life all over the world. And personally, of course, it's for me, I take this time to reflect and admire my mother, her constant strength and resilience, which has, of course, helped shape me into the person that I am today, or into the woman that I am today.
Oh, that's incredible. Maryam, I would like you just to take us on a little bit of a visual journey, if you might, of your entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial journey as a woman here in the UAE.
Of course. So I started my first business, which was Pixel Digital Marketing, at the age of 22, actually. I did it after graduating from university, and I was working as an intern with Google, actually, while I was still in university. So as soon as I graduated, shortly after that, I started my first business. Right. I started Pixel as a one-woman show initially, so definitely got to experience firsthand what it was like to be a woman in business here in the UAE, which has honestly been an excellent experience, honestly speaking. It's been very rare that I've ever had any issues because of my gender or anything like that. I think something that has personally helped me is, I've always seen myself as a person in business, not necessarily a woman in business. And, just that helps a lot in terms of, how I carry myself and my confidence and things like that. But something that has definitely helped me is the support of other people, especially at the very beginning, because I started at a very young age, Right. So, of course, the doubts were there, but I had some amazing support, and this is not just from women, but from men as well. It was amazing to have that kind of support. And I remember talking to, Tariq Abdullah, who used to be my manager at Google. I remember talking to him before I started the business, because, I had some doubts at the time, and I was telling him that, I don't know how I feel about being, a 22-year-old, walking into a room and talking to people about, this is how you should be doing this and that and all of that. And he kind of just looked at me and said, what century are you living in? Times have changed. This is your time, basically. This is your time. And anyone who has an issue with that, you have the choice to basically not work with them. And that's when
Was it more difficult? Was it more difficult back then, being a woman entrepreneur, than it is now?
Honestly, I would say in terms of awareness, a lot has changed. There has been a lot more awareness, but the difficulty, I would say, was more of a personal thing. So for me, obviously, it took time to, but in terms of, I don't think there's been, let's say a huge shift in the last 6 years that I've felt, other than, in terms of awareness, there's definitely more awareness about the importance of Women's Day, the importance of women in business. And, definitely over the last like 5 to 10 years, we've seen a lot more female CEOs and taking up global positions and things like that, which is amazing.
But the most important thing that you did not find any kind of inequality during the years.
No.
Throughout the years, yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So the UAE's made strides as far as empowering women in the workplace. But my question to you is, building that confidence, because you did this from a very young age. You've had great mentors. You've had people talk to you about what it's like. And you found yourself at a position where you were empowered to make decisions. So, I mean, let's start with that. How do people build up that confidence to do the things they do? Because oftentimes when you read about stories from other countries where women are struggling in the workplace, they say we don't feel like we're empowered to make decisions. We don't have the confidence to ask for raises or promotions. So talk to us about that confidence aspect a little bit.
Okay. So look, I think something that's huge is to be the change, basically. So I remember reading somewhere basically that there was a little girl that was saying, everyone in my family doesn't think that I can be an engineer and things like that, and what am I supposed to do? What do I do about this? And it was basically that become an engineer. That was that's the best way for you to do it. So I think it's more about proving others wrong when they think that you can't do it. I think that's a really big part of it. And just continuing to defy the odds, just continue to basically do what you think you can do and show others that it's something that they can do as well. So I think that's why it's really important to have, different role models or examples of other women around you, or surrounding yourself with other women that are doing similar things. I think, or like-minded individuals. I think it's a really important aspect for you to have, as whether as a woman or as a man. It's important to be surrounding yourself by like-minded people, because it helps to also build that kind of confidence. You have a support network. You can talk to other people about what you're going through, and they'll help you through it. So those would be my main points, and it's something that I've personally been following a lot. For example, here I'm a part of the Entrepreneurs Organization in the UAE, and there are some amazing women basically that you can learn so much based on their experiences. So basically keep doing it, and be an example for other people, and surround yourself with others that have made it or are on their journey to making it, basically.
Can you talk to us some more about those role models you've had growing up and entering this field? Who did you look up to as far as other women?
I think, so definitely, like I mentioned before, my mother, she would be my number one inspiration. And I think it's important because, she's someone that I can talk to regularly as well. And I just see, how she's managed to basically support us, how she's managed to have that resilience, which as an entrepreneur, I think is the number one or the most important quality to have is that resilience, or to have that grit. And there's actually a great book by Angela Duckworth that's all about grit, and I would highly recommend that to other women or entrepreneurs that are listening to this as well. But yeah, I think it's all about having that resilience. So for me, of course, my mother has been a huge role model and support system and all of that. So that would be my answer.
Well, I've got to touch upon this as well, because I'm amazed by the fact that you are Bahraini originally and have lived in the United Arab Emirates for 2 decades. Talk to us about some of the favourite memories that you've got of the country growing up, and maybe if you've been to Sharjah as well, and seeing how things have been changing in terms of the entrepreneurship drive that we see in the country as well.
Oh my God, I love this question. So many memories here, so many memories. And I think one of the biggest things is the UAE as a whole is a success story on its own. So that on its own serves as an inspiration for entrepreneurs. You know, it basically ticks all of the boxes of the things that an entrepreneur wants to see to be inspired. So the growth of the country, the fact that you know, it's on the global map right now. It's something that's known globally. All of these different things, but you know, some of my personal memories, I think, growing up, that I think any other Dubai kid or UAE kid or Sharjah kid can basically relate to. Things like, you know, let's say Magic Planet and City Center, you know, going to Port Bacan, going to the beach, and of course going to school here. So I went to Shweifat school, and this was at a time where I remember it kind of looked like it was in the middle of nowhere, you know, it was surrounded by sand at the time. And when you visit right now, it's basically in one of the most popular areas here, close to Dubai Internet City. So it's just crazy to think about that. And I think something else also is that the UAE in general is a very international place. So, you know, just going to a school where you have over 100 nationalities, around you is something else that you know, was an amazing experience for me personally.
Amazing. Well, so glad to hear that, and it just goes to show that you go way back, and so that's always great to see. And thank you for joining us this morning. And
but before we conclude, I want to put Maryam a little bit on the spot here.
Okay.
Yes. Last question. So you worked with both females and males. Who do you prefer working with, and why more? Who do you enjoy working with more?
Look, honestly, I don't think that there's kind of one quality that you can say specifically about men or women. Obviously, there are sometimes, you know, some people think that, okay, women have more attention to detail than men or something like that. But I've been proved wrong many times about that. So I think, you know, I honestly enjoy working with both men and women. And I think it depends on the personal strength of each person. So for me, it's all about kind of trying to unlock that potential of that person, understanding what they're good at, because everyone has different strengths. So, you know, I know you tried to put me on the spot, but
but I failed. You're too good. You're too good. I can't beat you. Well, since we're talking about International Women's Day, I just want to get your last thought and last words for women out there on this day. Encouraging words from you.
Believe in yourself. I think that's the most important thing. Thankfully, I've had some people believe in me before I really got to fully believe in myself, you know, and so start to believe in yourself. And the most important thing I would say is you have more opportunities today than women have ever had before. So basically, take the opportunity, believe in yourself, and you know, just take it to the next level.
And how important is it to empower other women empowering other women?
Probably the most important thing right now, I think. You know, there's space for everyone to succeed. This is something that everyone needs to remember. There's space for everyone to succeed. And I think, you know, like I said earlier about having that network, surrounding yourself with other women and things like that. Super important to be surrounding yourself with women that kind of believe in you, that want to, you know, see you up there with them, let's say. And just remember that there is space for everyone. It doesn't mean that you're going to be taking someone else's spot or anything like that.
Do people feel that way, though? Do people feel like there's a spot?
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens sometimes. And I think, you know, just given, especially when it comes to multinationals, you know, sometimes when I'm talking to my friends that work at multinationals and things like that, they feel that there are limited spots, let's say, you know, for women, or limited spots to be moving up in general. And that's definitely not the case, you know. If it's your time, if you're talented, if all of these different things, it will happen for you. Maybe not right now, but it will happen eventually. So you need to remember to just keep working towards whatever your goal is.
That's amazing. Now, I'd like to put you on another spot, as I think you mentioned this earlier as well. Within your own company as a founder, what initiatives have you taken to empower women and employ more women in your own team? And because it's such a being in that industry, it's such a popular one amongst all genders nowadays. And talk to us about that.
Correct. Yeah. So basically, I have two businesses, right? So there's Pixel, which I started in 2014. There's also Flashback, which is a photo and video digitizing service, which was started in 2020, actually as a result of the pandemic. With Flashback, we actually we hire an all-women team to work on the technical part and to work on scanning and digitizing, let's say, the photos and videos. Obviously, we do that for several reasons. We want to make sure that our service is culturally appropriate and that other women are comfortable with us digitizing their photos and videos. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're creating jobs for women as well. Yeah. So that's definitely a big initiative that we're looking to continue taking as the company grows. And with Pixel, of course, we're always making sure that. Again, we don't have any kind of inequality or anything like that, for obviously being a woman myself and having started the company as a woman, on my own, let's say in the first year up until year 2, where I started to kind of hire other people. I think that obviously serves as a huge, testament to the importance of having women and, just being a women-led team, basically, and making sure that I think just as a business owner in general, whether you're a man or a woman and whether you're dealing with men or women, it's very important to be listening to what your team has to say, their input, all of those things. It's very important. And sometimes you get some really valuable information that you might have kind of overlooked. So I think it's all about giving a voice to your team and to women, and especially if they're younger women. They surprise you sometimes, and you hear things and you're like, okay, wow, I never thought of that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all about creativity, all about giving people the right opportunity at the right time as well. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Maryam. And
thank you for having me.
Wish you all the best and a very happy International Women's Day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was Maryam Yusuf, an entrepreneur based in the United Arab Emirates, Bahraini national, been in the country for over 2 decades, sharing her success story, her passion for entrepreneurship, and highlighting how the country has been a wonderful ground for flourishing and supporting entrepreneurs. So if you'd like to catch this conversation, if you've missed it, don't worry, you can catch it on SoundCloud and on our YouTube page as soon as we're done with the program. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We will return right after the news headlines, and of course we've got that big important quiz question to ask you, or waiting for your answers on the text lines 4215. Which country is governed and headed by a female prime minister and a female president? If you know the answer, text us on 4215 and we'll be announcing the winners very, very shortly. You're listening to the Morning Majlis on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.